Hi there, thanks for watching. Got another pickup video for you today. I recently bought a big bundle of ZX Spectrum games from a Facebook group called Sinclair for Sale. There was a chap on there who'd obviously bought some massive bundle of games because he was selling hundreds of them individually on this Facebook group, and quite competitive prices as well. So bought a few, and over 30 games in the end I ended up buying from this guy. So here they are, nicely packaged up in this big box here. So without further ado, let's get on with it. As usual, they're games that just piqued my interest, or I'd heard of but had never played, or I'm thinking about writing an article on, or whatever. So lots of varied different types of games. So first of all, on the top here, as you can see, we have Cop Out, which was coded by Rafael Secco, as seen on TV. This was in his Microgen days, before he joined Hewson, or before he became a coder for Hewson. And this game is quite similar to a lot of his later games in its graphical style, very colourful graphics, and it's quite a good game as well. A little bit underrated, one of Raf's early games. So Cop Out by Microgen. Now I'm quite a big adventure fan, although I'm terminally rubbish at them. So I bought quite a few adventure games from this guy. The first two we can note here are Subsunk and Seabair's Delta. Seabair's Delta, obviously the sequel to Subsunk. So quite a nice couple of little adventure games there, quite tough if I remember. Underneath that one we had Terramelinos by Melbourne House. Now they'd already built up quite a good reputation, Melbourne House, by the mid-80s for adventure games, because if you remember they did The Hobbit and also Sherlock, which were two very popular adventure games. And Terramelinos was a spoof type game, obviously set in Spain somewhere, and looks like things aren't going too well for the holiday maker there. Warlord, which I didn't actually realise was an adventure game from Interceptor Software, but it is, so I was quite pleasantly surprised to find that out. Return to Ithaca, budget label Atlantis. They did quite a few ancient times sort of adventure games. I seem to remember they did another one called El Dorado, which I played a lot, and this one's based in ancient Greek times. Return to Ithaca. We've got Cookie here, which was the one remaining early Ultimate game I didn't have. Obviously you pay a chef who's trying to mix all these ingredients up in his bowl. Wizard Willy, which I'd never heard of. It's a game by Cartoon Time, aka Codemasters, and it's quite interesting, this one. I did realise this, the seller did point it out to me, but it's an EDOS game, which was electronic distribution of software. Basically they'd have all the games coded on a computer, and when you bought it you just stick a generic tape in and put it on there. So I suppose it saved costs in having to do individual tapes. So there you go, Wizard Willy. Don't Buy This, which I've gone and bought, which is 5 of the worst games ever. I thought it'd be quite interesting to give these games a try out, see how bad they actually are. Heavy on the Magic, a very well thought of Spectrum game from Gargoyle, a sort of graphic adventure I suppose you'd call it. This got loads of really good reviews back in the day, so I'm quite keen to give this a try, see what it's actually like. Another adventure game, text adventure game in The Helm, again by Firebird. Again, if you've played any of these games, or a big fan of them, or think there's any I've got that are particularly noteworthy, then just please leave a comment. And here we've got Red Hawk. Now I have played this a lot before. I've already got Qua, which was the sequel, so I thought I should have Red Hawk as well, as I wrote about both games for Retro Gamer. This was a really cool game. I liked this back in the day. It's basically a comic type graphic display where you play a superhero, and then you'd have all the commands typed underneath. So really good fun to play this, Red Hawk and its sequel, Qua. Gyroscope, again Melbourne House, which was a Marble Madness clone, as you can see, looks very familiar there. Rommel's Revenge, and this was a clone of Battlezone. No prizes for guessing that. Very good clone. I think it was written by Simon Brattle of Crystal and Design fame. So there you go, early clone, lots of them of course. And another one here is Moon Alert, which was another good clone before Ocean got its logo, got its makeover by Bob Wakelin, and this obviously is a rip-off of Moon Patrol, the arcade game. Not quite as good obviously as the original arcade game, but a pretty good game there from Ocean. Tornado Low Level, which I have played before, and is a very good game from Vortex. Rescue, Now this game is pretty unknown, I'd say. It's a Mastertronic budget game. Obviously they released a lot of games. It was in the Your Sinclair Top 100 games, which is a bit strange considering it's not that well known. As you can see, the front cover features a character looking rather similar to Harrison Ford, and in it you have to rescue all these scientists. So pretty decent game apparently. Be interested to find out what that's like for myself. Hunchback, not a big fan of this game, but it was a gap in my Ocean collection, so I thought I'd get Hunchback. Early arcade conversion, of course, official one in this case. Ninja. Now, Ninja was from Entertainment USA, Mastertronics label dedicated to work from America, from American coders. Now, this game didn't review particularly well back in the day, and it's quite heavily bugged, but not particularly well programmed, but I did enjoy playing this a lot because it's quite easy to get into, quite fast-paced, and good fun really. So Ninja, although not particularly best game ever, still some fun to be had. Vortex's Android 2, never played these games, so I thought it would be quite cool to buy one and have a go. I'm not sure if the yellow case is the original case, but never mind. Stop the Express, another game I've never played, I've heard of, and I imagine it's quite well thought of, so I thought I'd give that a go as well. Back to School, of course I have heard. I do prefer school days, but I don't have Back to School in my collection, so I thought it was about time I remedied that. Stormbringer is the fourth, I think, in the Magic Knight series, a trilogy of 4. So I was keen to acquire this one to see what it was like, because it's the only one I've never played. Another Ocean game, in Kong Strikes Back. Now got the glowy, shiny logo. Now I believe this is a rip-off of 2 IPs, not only Kong of course, or Donkey Kong, but also Mr. Do, I believe, or one of the Mr. Do games. Quite a good game apparently from what I've heard, coded by Jonathan Joffa Smith with assistance from Nigel Alderton of Chucky Egg fame, I believe. Kirel, now Addictive, who made this, didn't do many games other than the Football Manager series. But apparently this is quite good. As you can see, it's a 3D isometric type game. Looks a bit similar to Rasputin by Firebird, but got good reviews at the time, so I thought I'd give that a try. Project Future I first played on a Bojoli compilation. It's one of these sort of like running around maze type shooty games, and I enjoyed that quite a lot. Good fun for anyone that wants to make a map, I should imagine. Driller Tanks is another Sinclair game, which apparently is quite good, so I thought I'd give that a go. Looks like the Taj Mahal in the background there. Glug Glug by CRL, one of CRL's better early games. It was dubbed Jetpack Underwater, and although it's nowhere near as good as Jetpack, it's still quite a fun game to play. Almost done on the single cassette games now. We've got Mr. Wimpy, obviously tied into the fast food chain, which rather bizarrely is still around today. Return of the Jedi, Death Star Battle. I thought I'd give this one a whirl. Never played it on the Specky before, so I thought it was quite fun. Another Sinclair game. Joe Blade 2, not played Joe Blade 2 or 3, but the first one I really liked, so quite good budget games these, so I thought I'd pick that one up. It was quite cheap as well. Implosion by Cascade. This is kind of a roaming shooting type game. Cascade of course made the infamous Cassette 50, which although it was absolutely terrible, all 50 games on it, it kind of bankrolled the company to make all their other games. This wasn't a particularly successful one, but I've never played it, so I thought I'd give it a go. Tempest, the official conversion of the arcade game, which came many years after the arcade game had come out, from Electric Dreams. Bobby Bearing, I suppose you could call this kind of another, no screenshots on the back, another isometric 3D game, but it was very well reviewed at the time, so I thought I would give this a go. Written by Robert and Trevor Figgins, who I don't believe did a lot of this. Sanction, great Commodore 64 shooter. The Spectrum didn't quite do it justice, unfortunately, but the seller wasn't asking for a particular lot of money for this, and I don't have any Thalamus games in my collection, so I thought I'd get Sanction. North Star, this was another Gremlin game which got a crash smash. They had quite a good reputation on the Spectrum, at least. And this is quite a fun game. I remember playing this back in the day. You play, it's kind of like a run and gunning, but this your character, as you can see, he's got this claw which he uses to eliminate the enemies. Really good fun North Star, so I thought it was about time I added that to my collection. And last, and probably least as well, we've got Renegade 3. I don't usually like buying inferior games, or games that I know are inferior, so this is a bit of an exception for me, but I thought it'd be nice to give Renegade 3 a try, because after Renegade and Target Renegade, this game really got slated, although it did get a couple of good reviews, which brings its the magazine's reputations into doubt a little bit. It's really not thought of particularly well these days as a bit of a cheap cash-in. So Renegade 3, thought we'd give that a go, see what it's like. So there you go. There's all these specky games I've picked up recently. If you've played any of them and like them, please leave a comment. I'll try and respond as quickly as I can. And thanks for watching. I'll post another video soon. Cheers.